4.6. Write the expression using only positive exponents. So for x to the negative 1, we need to move x to the denominator so we can end up with the positive power of 1. Okay, and y to the 0, which is equal to 1. And 1 over x times 1 is just 1 over x. Okay, and let's look at number 2. 15 to the negative 2 power. Move the negative power to the bottom. Get 15 squared. And then we move f to the negative 3 to power to the bottom. We get 1 over f cubed. And then we simplify further to get 1 over 225 f cubed. Okay? And for number 3, we have 0.6. I could change that to 6 over 10. And then g to the negative 5 power, I would get 1 over g to the 5th power. Simplify 6 over 10. 6 divided by 2 is 3. 10 divided by 2 is 5. Okay, so 3 times 1 is 3. 5 times g to the 5th power. Okay? This is your answer. And then number 4, we have c to the 3rd power. So we leave that in the numerator. And d to the negative 1 power, we move that to the denominator to get a positive power, but you don't need to write that 1, okay? So this is our answer. Okay. For 5 and 6, we have to write the expression without using a fraction bar, okay, without. So 8y squared. It's already in the numerator, so we do not need to do anything to it. And for 16, c to the 5th power in the denominator, we could do this. Okay? And I skipped one step. I noticed that I can simplify 8 and 16. Okay? So I'm going to write this out. Times 1 over 2 times 1 over c to the 5th power. So to change 1 over 2, okay, to a negative power, with a negative power, we move 2 to the top. 2 has a power of 1. So if we move it to the top, you will end up with a negative power of 1. And same thing, if you move c to the 5th power to the top, the 5 becomes negative. Okay? And then number 6, 15 divided by 1 is 15. 225 divided by 15 is still 15. Okay, we keep that in the numerator. We also keep d to the negative 2 in the numerator. And we want to bring d to the negative 9 to the top. So that becomes d to the negative 9 power. And by the product property, we can add negative 2 and negative 9 together to get 15d to the negative 11 power. Okay, so for the rest of the problems here, we are to find the product or quotient. So we want to write our answer using only positive exponents. Okay? So number 7, I will begin with 2. Okay? And I will multiply 2 to s to the negative 5 and s to the 3rd power. And I notice that s here to the negative fifth power has the same base as s to the third power, so I can use the product property and add negative 5 and 3. Okay, so that will give me negative 2. And therefore, I can move s to the negative 2 power to the denominator to make the power of the exponent of 2 positive. Number 8. 0.5 times 0.3 is 0.15. And I notice that I have t and t here, so I can add negative 3 and negative 8. So t to the negative 11 power. Okay, so now I can change 0.15 to a fraction. 15 over 100. And I can move t to the negative 11 power to the denominator to get a positive power. And simplify. 15 divided by 5 is 3. 100 divided by 5 is 20. So we get 3 over 20 t to the 11th power. Okay. Now, this problem, number 9. 0.4 times 0.7 is 0.28. A to the 0 is 1. So don't worry about that anymore. A to the negative 4 is 1 over a to the 4th power. And I can change 0.28 to a fraction. Okay, and I can put a to the 4th power here. And then 28 and over 100 share a GCF of 4. So 28 divided by 4, 100 divided by 4 is 25. So we get 7 over 25 a to the 4th power as your answer. Okay, and now we're going to move on to number 10. Okay, so here by the quotient property, we want to keep our power positive. Okay, so I'm going to keep 2 to the 8th power in the denominator. And I'm going to move 2 to the 5th power to the denominator. And if I do that, the power becomes negative. Sorry about this. It's 2 to the negative 5th power. Okay, so now I have 8. Oh. And now I have 8 plus negative 5. So that will give me 1 over 2 to the 3rd power. And that's my answer. Okay, and for number 11, you have a negative 2 power here. So I'm going to keep 0.4 to the 6th power in the denominator. I'm going to move this power to the denominator so that I can make the negative 2 a positive. Now that we have the same base here, we can move forward and just simply add 6 and 2 to get 1 over 0.4 to the 8th power. For now, I will let you leave the answer like this, even though there's a decimal here. Okay? Number 12, you can either do this way. Okay, I'm going to show you one way. 16, move the negative 8 to the numerator. It becomes positive, and then move 16 to the negative 9th power to the denominator, so it becomes positive. Okay, but we're not done. This is not simplified. We need to use the quotient property, okay, because 16 and 16 have, okay, they're the same, and 9 is bigger than 8, then I can do this. 16, 9 minus 8, and get 1 over 16. Okay, this is one of your power properties. A to the n minus m when n is greater than m. Okay? This is in your notes. All the power properties are in your notes. Okay, and number 13, we have 15 to the third power in the numerator. It's already positive here, so we'll just leave it there. And then we're going to move 15 to the negative power to the numerator, so that will make the negative 4 a positive. Okay, so we can add 3 and 4 together by the product property. And notice that I'm just going to write 15 here. You're not supposed to multiply 15 and 15, okay? You have to keep the base the same, okay? So 3 plus 4, 7. So your answer would be 15 to the 7th power. And then number 14, okay, I have a decimal here, and if I can get rid of it, I will get rid of it. 17 over 10, and I see that 7 is greater than 3, so I'm going to keep the power of 7 in the denominator and then subtract that by 3. Okay, remember, a to the m over a to the n equals 1 over a to the n minus m when n is greater than m. So this would be your m, this would be your n. Okay, so I simply subtracted 3 from 7. Okay? One second, let me erase this. And then when we move forward, we have 17, 10 to the 8th, 4th power. Okay, and you can also think this way. So 17 over 10, okay, this is another way, alright? A to the 7th power, and because this is the smaller one, I'm going to bring it down to the denominator, okay? And then I'm going to use a product property and add my powers, 7 plus negative 3, okay? And this step here, as you can see, is the same as this step. Okay, it's 7 minus 3 here. But 7 minus 3 is the same thing as 7 plus negative 3 right here. Okay? And then this would equal to 17 over 10 a to the 4th power. The same answer. Right? Okay, give me one moment to erase this. Okay. Cancel, get 5, and I want to keep b to the 4th power in the denominator and move b to the negative 5th power to the denominator. So that becomes positive 5. That would equal to 5 over b, 4 plus 5, which is 9. Right? And then 16, same thing, simplify. And then we get 2. And I would like to keep the negative 4 power on top and move this one to the w to the negative 12 power to the numerator, so I can end up with a positive power that will be greater than negative 4. Okay? So after I add negative 4 and 12 together by the product property, I would automatically get a positive power, and I'm done. Okay? And 17, okay, 11, you can't really do anything to that. Alright, g squared, you can't do anything to that. And I want to move g to the negative 4 to the top, so I can get a positive power. And then you take 2 and 4, you add it together by the product property, and that's your answer. And number 18, again, you simplify. Okay, 13 over a to the 6th power, and because a to the 3rd power is smaller, I'm going to bring it up. B to the 7th power and positive, I'm going to bring b to the 4th power to the bottom. This will give me 13a to the 3rd power and over b to the 3rd power. Okay, there's another way to look at this. Okay, so 13, and by the quotient property, we could take 6 and subtract 3. And then 7, subtract 4 to get 13a to the 3rd power and b to the 3rd power. And we get the same answer here. Okay, and let's take a look at number 19. And cancel the 0, cancel the 25. Stick with a negative sign so I don't forget. And then simplify 625 over 10. Okay, and here I can do this by the quotient property. Okay, and I'm going to write down negative 25 over 2. And by the quotient property, I can do d 11 minus 5. And then I'm going to put my answer together. I'm going to put the coefficients in the front. And then c to the 6th power in the denominator. And d to the 6th power in the numerator. Okay? And now let's look at number 20. Cancel, cancel, get 2. By the quotient property, since 8 is bigger, I'm going to keep 8 in the numerator. And then subtract 2. Since 9 is bigger, we'll keep the 9 in the denominator. I'm going to subtract 4. Okay, so 2m to the 6th power, or n to the 5th power. Or we could look at it like this. 2, okay, let me erase this. And since m is to the 8th power is bigger, I will move m to the 2nd power to the numerator. So that gives me a negative power of 2. And then keep n to the 9th power in the denominator and bring n to the 4th power to the bottom. And that will give me a negative 4. Okay. And then, as you can see, 8 plus negative 2 will give me 6. 9 plus negative 4 will give me 5. And then my answer will be 2m to the 6th over n to the 5th power, which is the same thing as this. Okay, compare. Alright, and let me do the last problem. And let me erase this. Okay, so 625 divided by 25 is 25, and it'll be 9. 25 over 9. Okay, you see, by the quotient property, 10 is bigger than 2. I'll keep the x in the bottom. 10 minus 2. And y to the 7th power is already positive, so I'm going to keep it in the bottom. And I want to make my negative powers positive. I'm going to bring it to the bottom, so that would be y to the 5th power here. So my final answer would be 25 over 9, and 10 minus 2 would be 8. So I would have x to the 8th power, and 7 plus 5 will be 12. So I will have y to the 12th power, okay? This would be the product property we're using here, okay? So this would be your answer. And that's it.